on YouTube. You're almost there. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay, so let me go back. Yeah, okay. So this is the RChain member debriefing, and we update each other of what we have been doing last week for RChain, and hopefully we've got some more people on board. We are now 3 people, and Brendan is there, and how would I say that? Ili ever for you. I like for you.
It's abbreviation, and it's so hard to. You can say Ilefer, and that's all.
Ilefer.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah. But okay, I think that I need change. My name is Alex.
Alex, okay. Okay. I call myself HJ. So. So, yeah, I've set up an agenda, so I will share my screen. And I must find the agenda. So, share screen. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yep.
Jim Scarver is also. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
So, I was just starting the meeting, and I have also to look for participants, attendees, people are coming in. And there should be 5 now. 6 now. Let's just stop my screen. Okay. So, yeah, I will try to keep an eye on the people who want to log in, and I want to share my screen. So, this is the agenda of this meeting. And make this a bit. So, okay, so we have some very good news. This week there was some Chinese who have been doing a lot of effort to get the rock listed on the exchange, and it's called Qcoin. And it's the first biggest exchange where we are listed. So now we can have a real estimate of what the rock is worth in the real world. And it sells now. Yeah.
The sales price was 53 cents when I looked before. What is it now?
It's now $78.
Wow.
Or around 0.001 Ether. So, and this is only for a few days, so like 3 days now. And can make it 15 minutes, and it's good. So 15 minutes, 1 hour, it's So it's quite rough at the moment, and I hope it will stabilize. And then with a steady upgrowing curve, that would be nice. So, any questions about this KuCoin stuff?
Nope.
Okay. There's also a listing on. Yeah, go ahead.
It looks good.
I guess it would be good for us to put some orders in to create some activity. More activity.
I've been doing that. Yeah. So, and on CoinMarketCap, it's like 34 cents. But CoinMarketCap is still referring to what happens on Ether Delta. So maybe we should send them a message that's also available on KuCoin. Okay. Then I've been working on the spreadsheet for the budgets, and I've changed this column. Here are the issues. Maybe you cannot see it. I can make it a bit bigger. So here's, for example, an issue. It's about row-length programming on RChain. And the thing that has changed is the D for development, that's the category. So this is to do more sorting. You could do a sort on, for example, on operations. And hopefully we could, oh, this is not a sort, yeah. Okay, but okay, you could do sorts on that. I will have to change that. And yeah, one more that has been changed. I'll make it a bit smaller. This can go away. This is also something when you raise an issue, then it would be nice, or when you close an issue, then you can say it's closed, for example. And that would be nice for other people, then they don't have to look at it anymore. And what's important for this month is setting the budgets. Like this is for the travel budget for the governance meeting. I think it's in Florida. So that's very nice. And it's what the goal is to reimburse people for the travel and lodging cost. So resonance, oh, wait a minute. I have to stop my share. Patrick is also asking to come in.
Look around there and try to look at the issues and try to find things to approve. It might be good to have a time when people get together and to approve budgets where they can discuss the activity that other people don't know about or something.
Yeah, that would be good, but people can also do it individually. So like I will share my screen again, and then I will raise the budget, for example, for this governance meeting. So let me go here, and I have to make it a bit bigger. So yeah. So because I'm probably coming from Holland, I will put my name here. And these costs are only without flying costs. So for me, I think about 5 people would go there and take a ticket. So I will put it on 15,000. What you see now is that the budget is averaged to 12,900. So it's gone up. And maybe Jim Scarver would also like to add something. I will fill it in for him. He can change the ticket later. And he said, yeah, that's a good idea. I think more people will come in, so I put it on 17,000. So, see now the budget is...
I'm hoping it's in Tampa, so I don't have any expense, but I want as many people coming as possible.
So
get as many rocks out there in the world as we can.
If is 17,000 then enough, or do you want more, like 20 or so?
20,000. Oh, that's good. Whatever.
Okay. So, yeah, now we're talking. That's good. So
yeah,
now we have 3 people who have put a budget on this, and then it's already approved. So.
Aren't you in there twice, HJ?
Sorry?
Who's the third person?
So the resonance X is the first. I'm the second, and you are the third. So if Patrick also wants to add something, that would be nice. What do you say, Patrick?
Yeah, I will most certainly. One thing I want to do is we have in the total forecast for the year of 2018 a travel forecast, and I just want to review that real quick, and then I'll input that after that consideration. But yeah, I'll most certainly do that. I would love to get as many people out there in person as possible.
But you don't
and
want
also
to make
the location has not been confirmed yet, but my rough guess would be right around what you put, like 15,000.
Okay, there you go. It's done, Patrick. Easy, you see? So there's Gary, who also wants to come in. That's nice. So, hi, Gary, welcome in the meeting. So these guys who just came in, they come mostly every week. So that's very nice. And we have 2 new people. In fact, Brendan, I didn't see you before. Is that right?
Oh, this is Thoth. I'm usually around.
Okay. So, yeah. So I will share my screen again and go back to the agenda. And so you can close also issues now, and you can update what's in the pipeline. So if it's in the backlog, or if it's in progress, or in the icebox, or whatever. And then Patrick and me are starting to put some abbreviations for this issue, see if this is working out. So M for marketing, O for operations, F for finance, etc. So it would be nice if issues would start with that. And then for the November, please send in your invoices as soon as possible. Then we can start the payment process. And there's one nice thing for the tax forms, because the US aliens that don't work inside of the US, so they work outside of the US, they don't have to put a tax identity number. So you only put your address, and then that's enough, yeah. So you could write not legally or required. That makes it a bit more cumbersome for exchanging of information between the US and other countries. I guess so. Don't know. Then there's also something like we can make a vote for the government's conference location. Do you know how that works, Patrick? Or Jim or?
Yeah, so in the last governance committee meeting, Jim and I created a Google form and a doodle for your availability and the Google form to express your interest in a location. There's been some, some feedback as to that is easily gameable. I think it falls under the category of good enough at this point, and we can manually go and verify that the Discord user that inputted that information, it was in fact that person. So we can share the Google form again through here and the doodle again. If you guys all want to put your availability and the location you think would be best, that would be really cool. But that's where we're at right now. Some people think that that's not a good way of doing it. I fall into the category of thinking that's good enough.
It's good enough. Do you have some links to these forms?
Yeah, it'll take me a minute unless someone else has them on standby, but I'll just give you 1 second.
Paste them in the chat box and then.
I have the doodle.
Okay.
So I'll put it in the chat and in the agenda.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so the location will be decided later.
What, the world?
So I will share my screen again for the agenda. Well, let's.
I just shared the Google form for the location. And it's important that you use your Discord ID. Also, it won't count unless you use your Discord.
Unless you broke up. Oh, Patrick, you're muted.
I'm sorry. A little bit of lag.
Okay. Could you repeat the sentence after unless?
Yes. Okay. So I posted in the chat a link to the Google form, which is where you express your interest in the location you'd like for the governance conference to be. It's super important that you use your Discord ID. And in fact, it will not be counted unless you use your Discord ID. And then that goes to that good enough because to that person and say, what did you choose? Like if there's 2 Lapin 7s, then I can just go to you and say, hey, what location did you actually choose? It's very easy to remove on Google Form. It's very easy to remove people's lists. So I think it's definitely good enough.
Yeah, it's fine. So I share my screen again for the rest of the agenda. So there's also a scam at the moment. And people start to know that we are working with Google Forms and so. And then they say, well, you can participate in an ICO and then send your Ether to this address. And then all your Ether has been gone because they are thieves. So we have to look for scams and ask Google to take those forms away. So it's pretty important. Then we have also this spreadsheet. It's quite interesting because we want to coordinate the channels a bit, and maybe Patrick can tell more about it.
Yeah, okay, so this was a great effort from, I believe his name is Georgie. in order to create essentially what is a Google Sheet version of a CRM for marketing and influencers, which could be used for outreach when specific releases go. So anybody can look and see, hey, I submitted this link to Bitcoin Talk. I did this on Reddit, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. I reached out to these Reddit channels, these influencers, these research groups. Now, the important thing to synergize on this is that we don't duplicate efforts and spam people without realizing it when we're doing that outreach. So Lawrence and I have secured a CRM for holdings and co-op that are the same. It's fresh sales. And then what we want to do is to continually export essentially that exact same sheet in the format of the CRM, and then release that spreadsheet to the community where they can upload it, and then we can upload that back into the CRM. It seems, the way I'm speaking, it seems a degree of complexity, but I think it will serve to coordinate our efforts greatly. And then one of the tasks that we can have that can be a community member's task is to manage that process essentially. But so it's a great work, but we have to be careful that we're not duplicating efforts, especially in outreach and relationship development with particularly important influencers and in the community. So that's kind of our thinking right now. And obviously we're open to whatever else anybody has to think. I know in the issue, you actually had some ideas for a CRM. We've already paid for fresh sales at the moment, so maybe we can just have more conversations on that specifically.
Let's have a talk on it.
Hello? Okay.
On Monday.
Okay.
Ms. Lawrence, and maybe Georgie wants to participate in that call also. What do you think?
Yeah, most definitely. And I also think Kevin would be another person that does this kind of work really well.
Okay.
Kevin Valentine. So I would love to have him on the call also.
Yeah. And
I don't know if he's here right now, but
also?
Sure.
Ojimado, this is about marketing and CRM. So we have to choose a package and we have to find a way how we can coordinate all the people that we contact and what progress we make with these contacts. So we want to talk about that on Monday. And the question is if Ojimado wants to participate also in the call.
Yeah, I mean, Ojimado, you're on here right now, so you could hit us in the chat if you just want to. If you'd like to, you're invited. It's not going to. It's a call about that specific issue.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Great. Maybe I pronounce your name.
I didn't actually get what you said. I'm just joining, so I didn't really get your. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Maybe it's better that you type your answers in the chat because your quality of the sound is not so good.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so, well, I'm done with my subjects. Who wants to take the floor?
There's a lot of exciting connections that. Go ahead, Patrick.
Sure, I'll be quick because I'm actually so right now I'm literally in the middle of doing the newsletter draft scheduled for tomorrow, and then I'm also every time I do the newsletter draft, I summarize the latest 2 hangouts, and then I do timestamps of those summaries, and I'm putting those into the weekly debrief index that Dan Connolly started. So I'm actually doing that right now as we speak. A couple other things is that, and HJ, you know about this, Lisa is putting together an easy like budgeting system with the key people that are gonna, I don't know the word, that are accountable for their specific departments essentially. So that's coming together good, and we're already starting to onboard people for specific tasks, such as Alberto is going to be helping with social media, Jake G is going to be helping with content creation, Nathan Windsor is also going to be helping with content creation and things of that nature. Let's see what, now that some of those tasks are being delegated, I'll spend more time this month and through January on completing the next iteration of the website. And then and Lawrence and I are actually going to be working on that. And then with that, we'll also see the developer.rchain and rolling.rchain.coop go live as well. So that will be really cool and fun and probably good timing. Obviously, we're working on the blockchain governance conference. The meetup packages are coming together, and another person that we're going to be testing that with is Nathan Windsor. He has a lot of connections through his co-working space at Pencilworks in Brooklyn, New York. So we're going to test, what it looks like to let somebody represent RChain autonomously. So that involves, a deck, maybe a small budget for miscellaneous type things like food and beverages, obviously the ether cards, and also we want to develop a one-pager, and then also possibly printing out some of the architecture documents and things that have physical copies. Our key on this one is that we're accurately representing RChain, and then two is that we demonstrate attention to detail with everything that we do. So I like the touch of the ether cards, and as well as some of the other materials that we're going with. But yeah, so that's that on that front. And then content marketing wise, a couple of hangouts ago, you guys saw Michael Birch demonstrate his Casper simulation and that GIF. Since then, he has drafted an entire post on Casper, and we've gotten feedback from Vlad, Greg, Lawrence, a few other people I can't remember in that actual draft. And that's going to be ready to go also in January. And then hopefully after that, we'll have either an infographic or a video to complement that. We're working on that right now. A lot of other content marketing stuff going on. In fact, we are actively looking for other developer advocate type people that can do content. So that's really interesting. Let's see, to that point, let me just double check my meeting notes. In the local area, it's going amazing in St. Pete. That's just a side note, but
when's
TRM, we went over.
When's the St. Pete meetup?
So, all right. So I'm just going to talk about St. Pete specifically for a second. This is what's going to happen. Hey, Navneet. This is St. Pete, Tampa Bay. So what's going on is there's an incubator called Block Spaces. They're like the prominent influencers in the space. They're connected with some of the old Bitcoin people, like I can't remember his name that works on Bitcoin Core, Charlie Shrem, and a few other of the old Bitcoin people. So they're launching this incubator. Their grand opening is going to be on January 13th or whatever, I think. So Jim, you got to get down there. And then after that, there will be the North American Bitcoin Conference, which I want to attend and represent RChain. And then the following week, which is the third week of January, that's when the official St. Pete blockchain meetup groups will go, and I'll be an active representative in that, organizer representative in that meetup group, and then obviously pushing RChain. I already have a bunch. Everybody here knows about RChain, but that's specifically when the actual official quote unquote meetups will start in St. Pete. So that's awesome. And we're going to be very, very plugged into the prominent influencers in our local area. So I hope you guys all do the same thing in your local areas as well. Does that answer your question, Jim? Third week of January, to summarize that.
Yeah, I've been to Block Spaces twice. So hopefully we'll get there together one of these times.
Yeah, but have you seen it lately?
Not in a month or so.
Yeah, it's coming together rapidly. Yeah. The last one was last Wednesday. And I'm gonna stop my meeting updates for now. I'm gonna go through my notes if I have any more, and I'll I'll clue you guys in. But that's about what I have right now.
Okay, that was awesome. Hi, Jacob. Hi, Navneet. Thanks for coming. And I think Jim want to give an update also.
As there was silence, I don't know if anyone wants to jump in before me, but I guess there's a lot of things going on with cooperations with other organizations. The S7 Foundation, New Maps, MetaMaps, RChain, of course, the Digital Life Collective. There's just too many channels and I'm totally overwhelmed. But hopefully, we can develop double links between these other communities that are working for the same things. There's some energy coming together on identity and the social ledger. And we have a tremendous amount to do, and a promise somewhat from some of these other communities who may be, to bring some developers on board or whatever, and get them into a project area that we're interested in. We want to bring the social ledger integration onto Discord. Looking for people for that. There's a number of social ledger related projects that are going on, and as well as the bridges between our channels. So we're hoping to bring on, we're looking for people who are, willing to learn a little self-reliance in the bot ecosphere and help develop some of these questions. And we're looking for people to connect communities. So Gary and I, linked to Dig Life and RChain. We're looking for more people. We're one of our visions or possibilities is programming RChain with Rolang. RChain can implement an actor model, and every app has a chain, and the chain is controlled by a contract. Everyone has a chain. It's just as Rolang maps onto the actor model with the Rosette DM, we can interact with the actor model on RChain and do our process control, process orchestration in Rolang, which would be really awesome. So we're looking for people interested in joining that effort as well. Anything else, Gary?
Well, there's been some activity around the glass bead game and gamification of these social objects and gamification of the social ledger. And I'm getting pretty excited about that. And I think I'm going to be putting some energy into a project that will show off the features of the social ledger in a game or a play setting, which seems pretty effective. And I learned over on RChain, Anders, who is a mover and shaker on RChain, introduced this idea of the glass bead game and gamification. And of course, Jim and Joachim also use this metaphor in the design of the social ledger. So that's what I've been up to.
So, well, that's really great that the social ledger is getting some attention and growth and is penetrating in all kind of scenes.
Yeah, the glass bead game is somewhat independent of the social ledger. I mean, we've done it in a spreadsheet where we've dragged and dropped rows around and things, but and they're working on a MetaMaps incarnation of the glass bead game as well as the social ledger incarnation that we're working on. But we're looking, you know, the effort to merge MetaMaps and the social ledger sort of gives us another great visualization of our social structure. You know, who's committed in activities within teams, within domains, within the organization, and then with the sociocratic polyarchy of all the organizations that are cooperating. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful. I hope I find some time to look into it. Oh, Patrick?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, hello.
Can I add a quick point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I keep cutting out. I have bad connection. Can you hear me? I wanted to add a point to that. I think this is why it's very important for us to nail down a location and availability for the governance conference so that we can move to agenda items. And one of the ones that I'm pushing specific social ledger trial, I think all that stuff is awesome. And so if you guys could help me push forward on securing the availabilities and the location, then we can move to some of the fun stuff. That was it. I just wanted to make that call to action again.
Well, just one thing. If you think you have found a good location and you are with a few people who have decided that, then it's okay. Go ahead with it. You've shared enough that people can influence your decision, and speed is important.
And if there isn't already a draft of our Declaration of Interdependence, I'll volunteer to start that draft.
There is. It exists. I think it's in the governance committee project. But please, you know, I think it's literally, it might be blank right now. I think it just has Vlad's comments from his post on there. Yeah.
I've been bad. I have to check the issues in the governance project.
Patrick, maybe we could nail down a location on the next call with everybody there.
Yeah, that's most certainly a great idea. It's between Denver and Tampa, essentially, unless it's Seattle. So it's a matter of just sharing that Google form. And if I have the time, I'll do that. And yeah.
I think I heard that some of the developers prefer it be in Utah because it's easier for them. But I mean, for me, I prefer Florida. But I also really think it's important for the developers to be there.
Where did you hear that?
I forgot. I mean, I don't. Oh.
I think it's really important
I'll tell you. I was speaking with Chris, and I think maybe he mentioned it. You know, he's based in Seattle, so for the people based in Seattle, obviously Utah is easier. It may have been from him.
Yeah, but who wants to go to Utah? I mean,
right.
Florida is much nicer. And,
yeah, no, I agree. I don't want there to be.
Yeah, but I mean, even to that point, that's the point of getting everybody to do the Google form. is then they'll express it, and we'll know if you're unwilling enough to input one checkbox, then you probably, your vote probably doesn't matter. You probably don't care that much. I think it's safe for me to assume that if you can't fill out the Google form, which is 2 questions, then your vote you don't really care.
Yeah. I wish I could have, or Navneet, or I could have pinged Greg to like give a shout out in the developer stand up that happened the first 20 minutes of this call, because they don't all join the next call. But I mean, even I'm a bad citizen. I don't think I checkboxed the Google, so I'm sorry for that. But let's maybe push the Google form a little more.
I mean, it's not a problem. It's not a problem, but yeah, the Google form it's pushed on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's definitely pushed on Discord. I followed up, I think, yesterday morning, and it doesn't. It's all good if you're, everybody has their own time of and ability to focus. It's just whoever's ultimately driving this. I don't think there's a specific manager for this event unless that is being, unless that happened without us noticed. So as it stands right now, we're the ones driving it. So if there isn't feedback, then it goes through the processes that we're doing right now. Yeah, I mean, unless if we don't do it like that, then it's just gonna get really confusing.
In the governance meeting, we did agree or consent to Kevin be guide on it.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely did that. So Kevin is up to date on the 2 options of Denver and Tampa. So yeah, that's a good point, Jim. I'm sorry.
Okay, I placed the link again in the chat box, the Doodle link, and maybe people can put the checkboxes and preferences. Okay, let's turn to Jacob. Maybe you have some updates.
Hey guys. Just been waiting for the next board meeting to hear what the board decides on our offer to fund the co-op, and keeping conversations hot with my main guy and other guys, and fielding some conversation from community who expressed interest in potentially participating, and active in the New York scene. Pretty much that's my update.
Okay, fine. I hope this meeting of the board will happen very fast so we can make a decision about it. Yeah. Maybe let's do a small evaluation. Alex, what did you find from this call? Alex is new and he's in Brazil. And he's from nationality is Russian, and he's already some years in the crypto scene. Go ahead, Alex.
I don't know what I can talk, because I think that you can talk after you give some benefits for projects, and I'm only looking around and trying to understand what's happened. And I'm sorry for my English; it's not so good. I know this, but
yes,
but I hope that you can understand me. And I really like this meeting for friendly atmosphere and for be friendly for everybody. And that's all, more or less, because I don't know what to talk, because I'm only trying to read some articles and understand how it's working, and that's all.
Would you like to participate? participate in the construction of RChain?
I can give you some benefits, of course, but I'm not sure about that I can be helpful for project because
any skill fits.
It's
So
a
yes, any skill that you have, that is okay. And we have a nice system on GitHub where you can work on issues. And if you do some work, then you get also rewards in Rock. So you're most welcome.
Okay, thanks. I know
Okay.
about skills, but I'm not sure about my skills in every area. It's a problem.
Well, the thing with what is best for you is the best for us. So.
Okay.
I filled out the, nice to meet you, Alex. And I'm sure you're going to find a lot of ways to contribute around here. Patrick and HJ, going back to the doodle, I filled out the dates, but I didn't see a location option. Am I missing something?
Yes, the location is a different form.
Okay.
Do you have a link? Gary, can you paste the link in the chat box? For the,
if I can find it.
The Google Forms.
Thanks, Patrick.
It's there.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay. Sorry. Then we have also Brendan. He woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, and it's wonderful that he is in this meeting. And maybe I invite him to say something also.
Oh, thanks, HJ. I don't really have much to say. I had some questions about the funding that Jacob is doing, but I just was wondering, who are the investors and where is this money coming from?
So ever since I started looking into the blockchain space and RChain, we were talking with Ed and Greg about getting involved even before the private sale. You know, at first it was investing in holdings, but we didn't find that a great idea at the time. The private sale opened up, and so we participated in a small way. And so it's mostly going back to that same network that I've been speaking with, mainly one person who's, you know, he has resources, but he doesn't like to be rushed. And he thought that the private sale, you know, he didn't go extremely strong into the private sale, but I've continued to update everyone that invested with me or purchased with us the first time. And so he's the main, I think, force behind this. I mean, I'm the force, but he's the main backer. He's US based. And I think whoever wants to participate alongside him and us, they're mostly US based. They're not like, most of them aren't crypto type. They're just typical wealthy family investors.
Okay, it's not a firm, an investment firm. It's actual private party.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
there was a Chinese person. I forget who it is. Maybe Gary remembers in Divi meeting who had a lot of apprehension, I guess, about the terms. And I think
Jim, I believe that gentleman was in this meeting earlier.
Yeah,
Oh, well, we probably not business here, but in any case, everyone gave you a great vote of confidence, Jacob. So live up to our support.
I think it was merely a problem of language and understanding, and I think the intentions are still very good. So
yeah, they didn't understand the word tender, and that was really upsetting to them. And I don't know if I straightened that out, what the meaning of the word tender was.
Well, I was speaking with Ian 1 or 2 weeks ago after the first announcement, and he told me that some people had pinged him, and then I made the announcement in the public Discord lobby, and we also set up a private Discord discussion with the gentleman who was in this meeting earlier, but he's since left, Mao something, and also I think Andy Lee. So we discussed, what I offered and what the board has the choice to decide on. And I invited them to make their own offer. But I haven't spoken to them since then because they didn't really seem to want to work within my offer, which is fine. Although a couple other people have come forward. So that was nice. And I would love to allow them to participate.
okay. So Navneet, you're in a noisy environment, but maybe you want to say something.
Hey, sorry, I have one quick question. I didn't mean to cut Navneet off, but Jacob, is your offer still for 1 mil, or are you trying to clear the full whatever's left over on the cap?
We're way above the cap now, if you were unaware. I think we're at 20 million now.
Right, yeah, because the markets are nuts. But yeah, all right. But still, my question remains.
Yeah, my offer was initially an email to Greg that had 1+ million in it. And then since then, I increased the offer and guaranteed 5 million by December 31st. So now I'm sure the co-op has other offers. So they get to decide how they want to react to the multiple offers. So that should be interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, guys. Thanks everyone joining the call, and thanks Ajay for managing this actors call. I appreciate that. From my update, so last week I participated in security conference. I think I wrote already on the chat that it was a security deja vu security summit, and we presented RChain there. And I presented about RChain and the benefit of it. I think one of the things came out of it, and people definitely realized that scalability is problem. And then second, I think came out of is the governance, how to manage some of these ICOs and whatnot. Every other ICO, they find there are problems, how they manage their tokens and how the manage goes out to exchange and whatnot. I think, having a governance conference in February is a pretty good idea for us also. At least will give us some, better standing in the crypto space. I think we need to, figure it out, the agenda for conference, 1 or 2 days agenda, and then who speaker could be, or we want to just keep it alive. Discussions kind of forums, every hour, something like that. I'm not sure if you guys have already looked into the agenda or not. That would be very exciting. And apart from that, I worked with one of the developers on membership site testing and some of the changes what we needed to make it better for members. Primarily, make it KYC process a little bit more efficient and automated, especially with Discord. if somebody comes first time, they can verify some of the things using Discord. They don't need to have a person, but eventually, yeah, they need to do a photo identification. And on the other side, there are some holding internal meetings, participated in internal meetings. We have a lot of things. We're talking about the product roadmaps and what else. Primarily product, for both market, horizontal market and vertical markets, how we're gonna do that and what all things we need to develop or how to coordinate with the co-op in terms of the requirements. I think that's one of the things we are working on. In the parallel, some of the discussions with the other board members about various items, of course, Mr. Biziri's deal is one of the items, and there are a few more items for the board members to talk about. I think we are trying to form some opinion, at least we have the way we're gonna tell it to the other members how and why we are taking certain decisions in a certain way. So team is coming together. Still, there are a lot of gaps in terms of our thinking or in terms of how, I'm sure you guys already know that, bringing 9 people together on the same item, it's really hard. Those schedules and thinking wise, and one of the interesting idea with our board members is everybody has a different background and they have different thinking, the way they think, and come together, for something and have a consensus is a little harder, I think. I think that's one of the things, the benefit of co-op also, right? I think it goes hand in hand. That's all from my side.
Okay, interesting. So I think we have a few minutes left for the next meeting. That's the hangout of Greg. And I think he will have some nice things to tell us. So that's it for this week. See you all, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. Take care.